Welcome to the channel, both unique and repeat viewers. This is Stochastic Agency, where sometimes I try and attempt to continue to answer a very long question or series of questions that was posted in the comments section at Real World Games. They had asked also about organic character growth and expressions in NPCs. I'd really like to focus on NPCs because they can be a make or break element in the game experience, and there are loads of videos about them. We hear about motivations and goals and why they should be just as important for some NPCs as they are for player characters. So I'd like to offer something a little off the beaten path and explore the potential for organic development of non-player character growth and expression in the game that you're playing. So instead of relying on typical NPC motivations and goals, what else can we consider in order to make NPCs feel alive and dynamic? This is by letting them truly stand out in your world. Tie growth to player actions. What if we tie NPC growth to player actions? Instead of some predetermined storyline for an NPC that you might have, let the actions of the party shape their development. Do the actions of the player characters have any effect on the NPCs in your game? If they do, you can just make contextual changes. This works towards a sense of immersion and makes the environment that the player characters and NPCs are in feel alive and earned. Let's say there's a town guard named Ethan, who's always been a bit of a coward. Now, the party faces down a group of thugs, and Ethan watches from the distance. He's terrified, but after seeing the players fight and defend someone, he gathers his courage and starts standing a little taller. Later on, in another encounter, he not only steps forward with the player characters to participate in protecting someone, but he shows his mettle. His growth comes directly from the player's character actions as a form of example, leading towards organic growth and meaningful contribution. This is a small thing to do, but it has potential. Will Ethan become an ally? And more importantly, can we convert Ethan from an NPC to a PC if a party member dies? There's also the tavern owner, Madeline, who's been struggling to keep her business afloat. The party helps her out by uncovering a conspiracy that's been hurting her profits. In response, she becomes more open and trusting, eventually offering the party free stays as a way of saying thanks. Now, her experience of gaining trust in the adventures mirrors the positive impact the party has on the world around them. Use subtle progression over time. Don't just throw a massive change at your NPCs all at once. Let them evolve slowly over time is important here. It could be as simple as a grumpy merchant who softens over multiple interactions. Maybe they start out with curt responses, then they offer discounts and eventually become a trusted ally. It's small but meaningful because the changes being made make it feel organic. So there's a merchant in town, Gorham, who starts out gruff and unwelcoming. At first, he barely looks up from his counter when the players interact with him. After a few sessions, he starts offering them some discounts if they've helped him and his family, or they went out of their way for him. By the end of a few sessions, he might even throw in some extra items simply because he respects the players. Then there's the town healer, Elia, who's initially wary of the adventures and their rough ways. Over time, as the party repeatedly brings wounded villagers to her, she begins to increasingly become compassionate and begins to offering them services for free. This change is gradual, but the reveal shows how her trust in the party grows. Reflect change through behavior and language. Next, reflect on NPC growth through their language and behavior. As NPC experiences grow and the world continues to evolve, so should their mannerisms and speech patterns and body language. Should the change match? Our young librarian, Elia, who initially starts off speaking very stiff and informal sentences like, "Greetings, adventurers, how may I assist you today?" If they've spent some time with the free-spirited characters in the group who eventually manage to teach her to lighten up, she begins speaking with more slang. She might even be more welcoming. "Hi, how are you guys today?" Calling them by name. Are you guys up for a chat? It's a small change, but it makes her feel more alive as she adapts to her surroundings. And of course, there's got to be an old wizard named Master Orlin, who at first speaks in grandiose manner and high-canning terms. Throughout the game, after having more interactions with the party, he becomes to understand and simplify his language, adopting a more straightforward approach. So instead of saying, "The winds of fates portend a great calamity," he might just say, "We need to prepare for what's coming." This reflects how he is adopting a more practical approach to engaging with the players and the way they're navigating the world. Establish goals and motivations. Okay, you got me. I said I would take a different path, but you can't just ignore personal goals and motivations. Even minor, at this time, NPCs can have dreams and aspirations that shape their actions. These goals can evolve over time, just like the players do. So let's say there's a blacksmith named Kalen who dreams of forging a legendary sword. At the start of the game, he's just crafting horseshoes, simple weapons for the local militia. But after a few interactions with the players and hearing about their quests and them bringing stuff back to him and the back and forth of developing a relationship, Kalen starts taking on a new apprentice, experimenting with different materials, and over time, he perfects his craft. By the end of the campaign, or maybe even in the middle, he might even offer the players custom forged weapons as a reward for his journey of growth. As for Lady Allura, she's deeply committed to securing peace for her kingdom. Initially, she works through diplomacy and negotiations. But after the party uncovers a plot to assassinate her, she herself begins to train in swordplay, realizing that sometimes actions speak louder than words. Her personal growth reflects her shift in priorities from diplomacy to a hands-on form of leadership. Show internal conflict and doubt. Show that your NPCs have an internal voice. They don't always have to have it all together. Let them wrestle with choices, question their beliefs, face doubts. This makes them more human and more relatable. Lady Mira, a noblewoman who despises adventurers and has always viewed them as a threat to her family's stability, may change her mind after the players help her survive a robbery attempt and protect her home. Now she begins to start questioning her own biases. There's a moment where she's visibly torn. Does she continue to see the adventurers as untrustworthy, or does she come to accept their help? This internal conflict can lead her to be a more complex and nuanced character, reflected changes not only in her personality, but in those around her. As for Father Abbot, who has spent his entire life serving a deity who represents law and order, he witnesses the party's chaotic but morally good actions, let's hope, and begins to doubt whether absolute law is really the answer. This internal conflict becomes the driving force behind his journey as he tries to reconcile his faith with the realities of the world around him. Mirror themes in NPC growth. If your campaign focuses on redemption, you might have an outlaw NPC who is struggling with their past, much like a character is trying to deal with their own. These mirror journeys add and can give emotional weight to the narrative. Rook is a former thief who's trying to leave his criminal past behind. He may struggle with temptation as the party uncovers old associates, or where opportunities to steal arise. His story mirrors a player character's, and their struggles together and the triumphs they have help him move towards becoming a better person. As for Aaron, a disgraced paladin who lost their way and is now living in exile, the party may encounter them as a broken man. Still, as they grow and find redemption for themselves, the party members, right? Aaron sees the example that they are setting and then begins to reclaim his former oath, helping the party in unexpected ways as he seeks his own redemption. Leveraging downtime and background updates. Let's discuss how downtime and NPCs can still grow even when the players aren't present. After a few sessions, the NPCs may have undergone significant changes while the party was off doing their own thing, whatever it is. When the players return to town after several weeks or a month or so, they might find that that former beggar named Tamsin has become a popular street performer. She's no longer just asking for coins, but is instead singing and dancing for a crowd, having found her own passion in life. It's a subtle update, but it shows visibly how the world continues to move forward even when the players aren't present, off focused on their own quests. One day on their way back to town, a farmer named Lars, who was struggling to feed his family in the early campaign, is now thriving after the players have helped him by clearing out a bandit camp, right? On their return, the players find him in the village market with a large crop of vegetables, smiling as he shares his bounty with the townspeople, showing how his life and his family's life was improved thanks to player character intervention. Let the players notice the change. In all of these brief stories and anecdotes I've mentioned, there is one lesson, one mantra that comes up often, all the time, right? Show, don't tell. Let the players notice and see the changes instead of just telling them that they're happening. Let them pick up on the NPC growth through the environment or the actions of others. Maybe the players overhear townsfolk talking about the innkeeper who was once cold and distant and has become smiling, more friendly, and has lately done that because the players helped him reconnect with his estranged daughter. Then there could be the town's mayor, who was previously a scheming, corrupt figure. But because the players return over and over again, quest after quest, back to the village, they hear whispers that the mayor has become more just and generous, thanks to the mere presence of the party. Sure, we've said it. Now how do we show it? These player updates make them feel like their actions have a lasting mark. These are organic updates that drive and can contribute to engagement and investment globally. So there you have it, some examples and approaches to organically enhance NPC growth and the expression of them in your game. By tying their development to player actions, allowing for subtle progression, reflecting a change in their behavior, and keeping them tied to the world, you'll have NPCs that feel like they are coming to life in meaningful ways. If you have any tips on how to do something like this in the games that you've run, leave them in the comments below. Was any of this useful? Like and subscribe and hit the bell at your own discretion. But take a moment between the hustle and bustle to think about how the supporting cast in your game grows in support of a well-played game.